Before we begin, a quick note for our viewers and advertisers. This episode is an educational and theological discussion about blood atonement. It is not intended to promote hate, harassment, or discrimination towards any individual or faith community. We are examining belief systems, historical theology, and doctrinal claims for the purpose of understanding religious differences and some religious practices. We're not judging personal sincerity, morality, or worth. All commentary is presented in a respectful, academic, and with informational context. However, viewer discretion is advised. Most people assume Mormonism is just another Christian denomination. Maybe it's a little different, maybe a few extra books, but fundamentally the same faith. That assumption is dead wrong. Before getting into our video today about blood atonement, let's break down the core doctrinal differences between Mormon theology and historical mainstream Christianity. I'm talking the actual beliefs about God, Jesus, salvation, scripture, and humanity itself. Because this isn't about semantics. It's about whether we're talking about the same God, the same Christ, and the same gospel, or something entirely different using familiar language. Mainstream Christianity teaches one eternal, uncreated God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, of one essence. Mormon theology teaches a God who was once a man, a Jesus who is a separate being, and humans who can ultimately become gods themselves. Those aren't small disagreements. They're foundational. If you've ever wondered why Christians say Mormonism isn't Christianity, or how these doctrines developed, you're in the right place, because we're going to talk about one of those aspects today. But before we get into the episode, please do us a huge favor and hit that like button and give us a follow if you haven't followed us before. A big thank you to all of our patrons and our producers and our Substack supporters. If you would like to help support this channel and the work we do here, then there is a link down in the description box below. In 1984, a woman named Brenda Lafferty was unalived in Utah by her own brothers-in-law. The reason they gave wasn't anger, jealousy, or impulse. They claimed it was God's will. Ron and Dan Lafferty believed they were carrying out a divine command rooted in an old religious idea known as blood atonement. The belief that certain sins were so severe they required the shedding of blood to be forgiven. This doctrine comes from early Mormon teaching. Allegedly, the modern-day Mormon LDS Church has abandoned the teaching, but put in the hands of extremists, this teaching becomes something far more dangerous. Today, we're not sensationalizing any tragedies. We're not attacking modern believers. We're examining this philosophy. We're examining how 19th century theology, when stripped of accountability and revived through personal revelation, is used and was used to justify real-world violence. Because the murder of Brenda Lafferty wasn't just a crime. It was a warning about what happens when doctrine, absolute authority, and unchecked belief collide. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Esoteric Atlanta. Hello, Lorene. Thank you for being here. How you doing
Thank you for
today?
having me. I'm so excited to be here with you.
Girl, I'm excited, but I don't want to sound like morbid, but I think this is such an important topic that we're talking about. Hello to everybody in the chat. I'm so happy the chat was popping off before we even started. And I think Lorene, we're going to be doing a lot of episodes on this. I don't think this is going to be our only one, because this is huge and this is important. And I want to give a bit of a disclaimer here before we get going. If you are a practicing Mormon and this is going to trigger you, I would suggest potentially skipping this video, because we're not. I want to be very clear. Everything is nuanced. I care about people. I care about human beings, whatever culture or religion or country you're born into does not matter to me. Your life matters to me. And so I'm looking at the congregation of the LDS church as human beings that have been lied to. And I think most Mormons are sincerely very good people. And if they absolutely knew the truth about this Mormon doctrine, I know it's gonna be hard to hear. Anyway, I want to make that clear. Even though we're going to be coming down hard on the Mormon Church and its founders, at least for me specifically, I have a hard time biting my tongue when it comes to people using God as a weapon. Sometimes, I want to just I want to differ. The people of the church and the higher ups, in my mind, are two totally different things. Does that make sense, Lorene? I know as an ex-Mormon, it's hard, right? To see your world, your matrix crumbling.
Absolutely. It is very hard. And I had no idea of even the Matrix until I was out for 15 years. It is it is a very, very deep indoctrination that you get from birth. And so I don't mean to offend any Mormons either. I was one for a lot of my life, and I agree with you. Most of them are great, wonderful people. The problem that I have with it is that most people don't know about this. I did not know about a lot of the things that I've learned in the past 5 years until I started doing my own research and really digging into it, which I never thought I would do again. I thought I left it all behind me. Here I am.
Apparently, it's part of your dharma, girl.
It really makes me mad that all of these people are being used for nefarious purposes and they have no idea.
No idea. And there are a lot of doctrinal differences, theological differences between the mainstream Christian church and Mormonism. Now, I've gotten this comment a lot where people are like, if you're new to my channel, hello, I have like over 1,000 videos. Half of those videos are me going in the missing books of the Bible and really going at the mainstream church. So I get that confuses people when I compare and contrast the two. But looking at this from a purely academic perspective of proof, what is it? Speaking of Mormons, wasn't it? What did Heather Gay say? Proof, timelines, screenshots.
Receipt.
That's what I'm doing. Is I'm giving proof, timelines, screenshots, because the Mormon church, it does carry the name of Jesus Christ. And so I'm comparing and contrasting mainstream Christianity so that we as a community have a better understanding of where the manipulation is. And I'm not saying again that the mainstream church is not at fault. Y'all know I don't think any churches, I don't think anybody should be going to any churches. But if I had to pick between the two, if I had to, I'd definitely pick mainstream Christianity. It's a little, it's not as eccentric, it's not as savage as Mormonism. And so that's why I'm comparing and contrasting, because it's coming from the same, allegedly the same place, its foundations, which I just found out, Lorene. I don't know where I was, but our good fuckboy friend Joe Smith over here. I love calling him a fuckboy. Like he just his little brat. Me. Who thought he was a prophet, thought he was something great. I didn't realize, I've read the Book of Mormon. I did not realize, Lorene, that he had like translated his own Bible too. I did
Yeah.
not know that until like just recently.
Yeah, it's wild. Like I'm really interested to hear what some of the scriptures are in just the normal Bible and not in the quad that I was given, because I studied from the quad that had the New Testament, Old Testament, and I'm sure that those are Joseph Smith's versions.
So this is why. So I was telling you, we were texting about it, and I was telling you, and I'm going to read something, guys. So this is where, because in Mormonism, you have the Old Testament, New Testament, Book of Mormon, Pearl of Great Price, Doctrine and Covenants. Am I missing something? Am I missing a book? Is that it? Visions of Lore. There's all these different add-on books. And I kept understanding, or misunderstanding, because where we're looking at this big theological difference when it comes to blood atonement is the purpose, according to mainstream Christianity, of Jesus Christ. So in mainstream Christianity, when I talk about mainstream, I'm speaking about Protestantism and Catholics. Now, there is a difference between the two, but the differences between Protestantism and Catholicism isn't as extreme when it comes to, like, if we whittle it down just to belief, if that makes sense. So just whittling it down to just foundational belief, we have the same belief between mainstream and Catholicism, right? I'm not talking about Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm not talking about the IBLP, your average Presbyterian, Methodist, Catholic churches. And this is the belief that Jesus Christ came to earth as God as man, and he ultimately he fulfilled a prophecy from the Old Testament that now created a new covenant. And this really comes down to blood atonement. So in the Old Testament, which is a wild book in itself, the Old Testament, very violent, we see a lot of blood atonement. We see a lot of polygamy, which we're going to talk about the combination between the two. We know from the Old Testament, mainstream Christian beliefs, there was this prophecy that a Messiah was going to come and he was going to end it, and it is done. And that was believed by mainstream to be the purpose of Jesus, that he came to earth as God, did all of his miracles, and he ended all the blood. He gave his life, and that his blood covers you now, so that there is no sin that cannot be anointed and atoned for by the blood of Jesus. That is mainstream belief. I'm going to read you a little something that was written that I think says it even better. Blood atonement is not Christian because it denies the sufficiency of Christ's atonement. Historic Christianity teaches us that Jesus Christ's sacrificial death was a once for all, fully sufficient and complete, requiring no additional human blood for forgiveness or salvation. The New Testament is explicit that Christ's blood alone reconciles humanity to God, and that no further sacrifices, human or otherwise, can add to that work. Any doctrine that claims certain sins require a person's own death to be forgiven directly contradicts core Christian teachings on grace, redemption, and the finality of the cross. For this reason, blood atonement stands outside Christian theology and reflects a fundamentally different understanding of salvation, sin, and divine justice. Now, Lorraine, I was telling you that with that alone, that big understanding from the New Testament, how are Mormons believing that Jesus doesn't cover all their sins? Well, I just found out that that's because of our old fuckboy Joe, that he actually altered the original Bible to kind of confuse people. Now, Sandra Tanner, who's an incredible researcher, she's one of Brigham Young's like great granddaughters, and she is like, talk about karma, retribution. This woman is out there like going after the Mormon Church, and she is a descendant of Brigham Young. And that's karmic if I've ever seen it. And she's now
She's amazing.
She's amazing. She's now an evangelical Christian. I was listening to one of her interviews where she was saying a lot of Mormons, once they leave Mormonism, won't even go to a mainstream church because they don't understand that the theological differences, because they've grown up with the Joseph Smith Bible, not understanding that he added some stuff in. So is there anything you want to say to that, Lorraine, before we get into it?
Yeah, it's funny because Easter is getting ready to come up, and they're talking about the whole week of Easter. Like, I forget, Passover, is it that what they call it in mainstream Christianity? So that is something that we never practiced, and now they're trying to insert themselves into that.
That's more Jewish. We don't practice Passover either. Now,
okay,
Catholics will do
that's
like
interesting.
Lent. They'll do, and I'm not really sure how Lent works because we don't do Lent. Protestantism. Mm-hmm. So the biggest differences between the Protestant faith, any Protestants, and Catholicism is we don't do, now the Mormons do tithe. We do have tithing, but it's optional. And that stems directly from the Protestant Reformation, where the Catholics were like making people buy property in heaven, so Protestants are like, you can give if you want, like, I mean, what men will do in the name of God is wild. And we don't believe, Protestants don't believe in like a pope. We don't believe in a pecking order. So there is no, and I think that's where Mormonism is very close to Catholicism, where you have to have a bishop, you have to have you have a prophet, you have all these men who somehow in some weird wacko world have a deeper connection to God than you do. That is not what Protestants believe. Protestants believe like Catholics will pray to the saints. Protestants don't do that. They go directly to God. So that's a big difference. Also, communion is a difference between Protestantism and Catholicism. Transubstantiation, I never can say that word right. Catholics believe that when they take communion, they're going full cannibal. Like it turns into the body and blood of Christ. Whereas Protestants believe it's just symbolic cannibalism.
Well, and we take the sacrament every week as a Mormon. So, and what's funny about that is it's supposed to clean your sins every week. You're supposed to be renewed through the body and blood of Christ. Well, if you sin and you do something wrong and you're like disfellowshipped or excommunicated, you're not supposed to take the sacrament. You will. I had that happen to me a couple times where I was disfellowshipped.
What'd you do? What was the gossip?
Oh, lots of things. Lots of things. I did everything. I did it all.
Like, girl, spill the tea. So we don't do excommunications. That doesn't happen in like mainstream churches. I don't know if Catholicism, let me know for my Catholics or ex-Catholics. I know like the Jehovah's Witnesses do it. Yeah, it's kind of weird if you think about communion, isn't it? If you like really sit and think about it, like it's like cannibalism. Like,
yeah, you're eating the body and the blood of Christ to renew yourselves with his blood. So it's blood atonement all the way.
Wasn't one time enough? So does that make sense, guys? That's the big difference. Like mainstream Christians, they're like, we're good. It doesn't matter what sin you commit, you are forgiven through the blood of Christ. Whereas Mormons get super manipulative. These Mormon men, man, they get super manipulative.
There's something. I mean, just for an example, Leviticus 17:11 was the first one that came up on LDS.org. And that scripture says, in the quad, in the one that they use, it says, "For the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you upon the altar to make an atonement for your souls. For it is the blood that maketh the atonement for the soul." So it's not just Jesus's blood, but they are interpreting that to be your blood also. You can be blood atoned. One of the things that Brigham Young was saying, it's better that you kill both. Sorry, I probably shouldn't say that word.
We're in it far enough, so you're good.
Okay, so both people, if like a man was laying, say a white woman was laying with a black man, it's better to kill them both than to allow them to live. It's better to atone them.
You know, that's wild, the racism, because in a lot of my research into blood atonement, a lot of it is racially inspired. And we don't really, I mean, you don't really see, I mean, listen, white people don't really have a starring role in the Bible. Let's just be honest. Like, I mean, maybe more in the New Testament where you've got like the Roman Empire and the Greeks, but and they refer to the Gentiles, which I know, which is crazy about Mormons, because Mormons refer to people outside of Mormonism as Gentile, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I hate to break it.
You got to separate the wheat and the tares, and they're the wheat, we're the tares.
I mean, I hate to break it to most of the Mormons, y'all are technically Gentiles, because Gentiles are people who are not Jewish.
Or goyim is a word that just came up in some papers that were just released.
Right. And Sergei Monas talked about that too. Do we want to get into that first? Where do you want to start with this? With Poland? Do you want to start with the Epstein drops?
It's up to you. What do you think? I have so much I could say. We could talk about this for hours.
We'll have so many. Let's start from the beginning, and we'll wait because it's like, I was telling guys, I'm hardly ever in like comment sections of other videos, but I was in the comment section of one of the documentaries that's incredibly great about, and there was this Mormon woman, and they're like, this is all lies, like going off and off, and like, where's the proof? And I comment, I was like, come join our live. We got lots of proof here. like No, the Mormons practice blood atonement. Well, and that will, before we get into those, Leviticus is in the Old Testament. And so that would again be where a mainstream Christian would say, well, yeah, but Jesus came. So we don't have to do this anymore. Now, guys, we are going to get into it eventually. I don't know for this episode. I didn't even talk to you about this, Lorraine. I saw the comment about Satanism. I definitely want to get into why blood atonement is so important. I've done many videos on different blood types. We know that they look for different blood types. They look for, and I was asking you, Lorraine, do the bishops have your medical files? Do they know who is what blood? Because that's important. So,
They
and
absolutely, yeah. You can follow my genealogy back to the 1,000. Like it's pretty deep, and I haven't looked at all of it. That's just one little tiny line, but there is a lot of very interesting things in that line.
yes, it goes deep, guys. So there's a reason why. Well, I wanted to also, I found out too. So I've got, let me, before I even share screen, guys, because a lot of people think the whole blood atonement thing actually started with Brigham Young. Brigham Young amplified it, but it actually started with Joseph Smith. And I've got some notes here. So one place in the Bible that Joseph changed for sure is the story of Judas. So in mainstream Christianity, we're taught that Judas felt so guilty for basically turning Jesus in that he unalived himself. But I've learned listen to other people that Joseph told people that it was Peter who blood atoned Judas. So he rewrote the history of Judas's death. Now, I don't, who knows if these stories are even accurate anyway. It doesn't really matter. We're just looking at where Joe boy, or little fuckboy Joe, tried to manipulate this to say, well, Peter practiced blood atonement. Well,
I
but
think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens because they went off of, and old Joe went off of new the new King James version.
yeah,
And they just opened it up where they're saying that you should be able to study from any of the Bibles. So that is going to be very interesting because that's going to
I
create some
used
more cognitive dissonance that they really don't need anymore because there's already a lot going on up there in their heads with the cognitive dissonance.
So do you
But it
think
is
anybody
going to
in the
definitely get
congregation is going to notice the differences between the Bibles?
I mean, they're going to have to. Like, there's one study guide that talks about Mormonism being a cult. So it's going to backfire for them for sure. I hope it does because they do
I
not need any more money in their investment fund, y'all. Quit giving them 10% of your money.
They're
Just
the one of the
period,
richest
please.
organizations in the world. Like, I agree. Like, you need to walk away. Like, this is not God. This is not. Well, before we get into that too. So, how is this? So God is also taught differently in Mormonism. In mainstream Christianity, we're taught that God is not human. God is a consciousness. God's just always existed. Where you're taught that God was actually human, which makes things, in my opinion, become way more insecure. Like, I don't want to put my trust in man, and you're telling me God was man.
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
that's scary.
So that you will trust man, so that you will trust them, especially the men. God is as man once was, and man is as God is. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. So we see fuckboy Joe, trying to convince his flock, first of all, that there was blood atonement in the New Testament, which mainstream Christianity that does not exist. Okay. And I think now we're going to talk a little bit about D&C 132 and the connections with polygamy, but I have a quote here from Joseph Smith from 1843. Because in this time in the United States, one of the most popular means of execution was hanging. But with hanging, there's no blood, right? So he says, this is a Joseph Smith quote. So if I got any ex Mormons or Mormons around, like, this is a little quote, you can look it up from Joseph Smith. Hanging is the popular method of execution among the Gentiles in all countries professing Christianity instead of blood for blood, according to the law of heaven. But blood for blood isn't the law of heaven, according to mainstream Christianity. So we now see, in my opinion, this full-on manipulation where Joe is saying, if you want to be a Christian, you have to do blood atonement. Like, if you're going to be, you have to spill your blood. Now, I believe that Joseph Smith, being a narcissist, a malignant narcissist, I think that he got to the point where he was so selfishly wanting people to believe that he is the Mac Daddy, second coming of Christ or whatever, that he literally started threatening people's lives if they didn't follow suit. Now, do we want to go through the DNC 130 too that he added? This is the polygamy one.
Yeah.
I'll let you go ahead, girl. You're the Mormon, or you're the ex-Mormon. You tell us Gentiles about this polygamy.
Yeah, to back up just a little bit, on the garments, there are a little slit right above the knee, and they used to actually cut the person and you would get a little bit of blood. Now they just sew a little notch in your knee so you won't know. But there's also very Masonic ties from the very beginning. Over the openings of your nipples, there is the compass and the square. Those are Masonic. So I got this book that I have recently read, and I'm kind of going back through. There's a lot of prayers at the end of it. So I would suggest it for anybody who wants to kind of clear some of it. It's called Unmasking Freemasonry, and it's removing the hoodwinks. And this is going to sound very familiar to some of the people who raised a long time ago and who
oh, you're cutting out.
Who went through I was getting a phone call. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you now. I was like, oh my God, it's
okay.
Mormons.
They're going to mess with us. They're going to mess with us if they can.
Not today, Satan. Not today.
And it was a spam risk, so it could have been them. But everything in the temple comes from Masonry, and it very details it very well in this book. And what they say back in the day, I think it was about the 1990s when they changed it, because people were really starting to say, I don't really think I want to do this. And it is the right hand with the palm down and the fingers together. Begin with the thumb over the left ear, and you draw quickly across the throat to the right ear, followed by the hand dropping to the side. This action shows the penalty of having the throat cut and the tongue ripped out if you should speak any of the secrets. There's more. That's just the first blood oath. So this is very, very deep to the heart of the temple Masonic rituals that they go through.
If a Mormon is considering to rank down and just become a regular Christian, you don't have to do all that stuff in the regular Christian church, just so you know. You just got to deal with a bunch of gossiping church ladies who might pray for you from time to time. That's it. You don't have to deal with, and you were saying something interesting even about the underwear too, going back to it, because about the Masonic symbolism on free agency. And you're like, if they're telling you what underwear to wear, that's not free agency. My preacher growing up never asked what underwear I was wearing.
No, and when you're 8 years old in Mormonism, they sit you in a room and ask you if you ever touched yourself. When you're 8 years old, like they're putting it in your head before it even gets there. So it's grooming you from a very, very young age.
Right. And thank you so much, Firewater, for the $10. Thank you so much. That's so nice of you. But I actually pulled this up. It's going to be in the outro, and it's the same thing. It shows the aprons and the veil. I'm sorry, this might sound rude. Every time I see people put the head stuff on, it makes me laugh. Like wearing that thing makes me, with the bow tied under the head. But yes, and they talk about our throats be cut from. So this is a full-on death cult with blood rituals. Now, I heard in one of my research things I was listening to, I have no way to verify this, but Warren Jeffs, when he was building Zion in Texas in the temple, that there was a blood atonement room where they were carry it out.
Yeah, on a whole nother level. I'm not smiling because this is funny, but it's kind of a trigger response for emotion. So if anybody ever looks at that and was like, why are you laughing about this? Like it's trauma, and you deal with trauma in different ways. Just if anybody has never been through any type of trauma like this. But there is a house actually that was on the market last year in Maine, Utah. And they say it was the family of a prominent Mormon family singers that had a whole room just for atonements. And it looks like a big spa. And you can find it on We Are the People of Utah. It is a very disgusting room and for a very tiny table. So this is something that goes back generations, and it has not gone anywhere. It's still right here.
It's
And a
still
lot of Mormons are going to say it's secret combinations that they talk about in the Book of Mormon. So Joseph Smith was right. He was right about these secret combinations, but they're doing it in the main part of the church.
oh, I
That's how
believe
they
it.
have amassed all their wealth.
Oh,
And
100%.
a lot
Now,
of people don't want to see that, but it's true.
it's true. Now, should that lead us to Doctrine D&C 132 with polygamy?
Yeah.
Oh, Kresha, I actually almost text you to bring
Hi.
you in today, but I know I saw that you had put up that you had taken some time off. I want to talk about this as well. I know this is intro one. So you guys, if you are not subscribed to Kresha, please, difficult research, please go and subscribe. Actually, Kresha, I'm going to make you, let me go back to my YouTube. Kresha, I'm going to make you a moderator, too, along with my awesome moderators, so that you can, I want you to add your channel in for people.
And the reason that they put that on when they die is that they believe that when they are resurrected, that is what you need to be in when you are resurrected in your new body.
Girl, listen, I'll text you. I'll text you after we're done, Crush. I said, Lorraine, I actually talked about, but then I saw your YouTube that you'd taken some time off. So I'm going to text you after we're done, because I definitely want to see, Crush. I definitely want to hear your perspective, because I haven't even touched on your case yet with blood atonement
Could
and
do a
all
whole episode on that.
I mean, there's so many. The Lafferty, I rewatched, you guys. If you, this past weekend, and it's so hard to watch, Under the Banner of Heaven, which oh, the calling out of the name, isn't that something from the temple, Lorraine? You want to, because don't you get special names?
You get
Which
a new name when you go through the temple the first time. So you go through multiple times. And it's funny because the way that they come up with the names is based on the day of the month that you go. So just in case you think you have a very unique name, it's not unique. You just don't talk about it with each other and know that you all got the exact same name. And you're not supposed to talk to anybody about your new name. The husband cannot tell the wife, but the wife can tell the husband, of course. But that is your new name. And that they get that from Masonic rituals
That's
also.
very culty. That's very high cult to give people a new name.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's wrong with the name you got? But yeah, Crusher, this is not going to be our first. I know Lorraine's on her lunch break right now. This is not going to be our first time talking about this. I want to definitely, because there's so many. But Under the Banner of Heaven, guys, if you, it's on Hulu, I believe. If you,
Mm-hmm.
it's based off of a book, which Brenda Lafferty, it's an Erica that I have a hard time talking about the baby, because she was also blood atoned as well, and she was only 15 months old.
And all
And
because she realized what they were doing and she was calling it out.
now, I have not read the book. I feel like I probably should read the book. I only just watched the Hulu series, and I will say Andrew Garfield plays the detective, and he did a really good job showing the disintegration of belief. And I applaud him of what it to be facing these realities. This is what your religion actually teaches. Um, Yeah, girl, I know. I was telling Lorraine before we
You're
signed
gonna make
on,
me cry.
like I get really upset because, and I get spicy with this because I the people, I care about the people, and it makes me emotional. These are good people that are being totally yeah, exactly. I can't, it's hard, and I lose my temper sometimes because I just want to like smack these old gross men that are in the freaking Epstein files. Their emails are being like, wake up, people. These prophets do not have your, and we see that with Under the Banner of Heaven, because the Lafferty, now this is something too that's interesting about Mormonism, because Mormonism is like a new religion. It's not super old. So none of us can really trace our lineage back to Abraham, right? Like that's a long ass time ago. Don't even know if the guy actually lived. Maybe
The
Mormons.
Mormons seem to be doing it. They've got all the records. They got them from the Yahtzees back in the day, so they have everything.
I mean, it's what, but it's sorry, I have a hard time reading the chat. I get distracted. This is why I don't do lives a lot. So anyway, I with the Mormons though, we can kind of see the pioneers. And I understand, like you can be proud of your heritage and the fact that your ancestors settled an area, it's nuanced, but also understand the fault in their belief. And the Laffertys were considered to be like Mormon royalty. They were like pioneers. And you see this in Under the Banner of Heaven as kind of like in a little bit, kind of like Charles Vallow, where we see the police footage where he's trying to desperately, it breaks my heart seeing Charles the because you see he's desperate and he still loves his wife and his kid and he's trying to find his kids and he's trying to get help. And with the Lafferty case, even though this was back in like what 1984 when the blood atonement actually happened, of course it was a buildup, so late 70s, early 80s, we see the same thing where Brenda, these people are going to the church, they're going to people in places of authority to be like, my brother-in-laws are going off the deep end. They're going back to like neo-fundamentalism. They're going back to the original teachings of the church, and it's scaring me. And what did the priest, the higher ups did not only did they not protect Brenda, they put her right in the place to be blood atoned. They told her it was her mission, her calling, which is big in the church, right? That they decide your calling. You don't decide your calling, they do, to bring them back to the fold of the mainstream LDS, which in my opinion, Lorene was a setup to put her right there to be blood atoned. And it just aggravated the situation more. And one night they came in and spilled the blood of Brenda and the 15-month-old baby Erica. And that is Under the Banner of Heaven, and it's intense. And one thing they do good about that, yes, exactly. One thing the Hulu series did really well is they actually go back and forth. They show clips dramatized of Joseph Smith and Brigham Young, and they kind of show the original thought of Mormons of how they see old Joe, fuckboy Joe, and Big Daddy Brigham, and then they show the reality of what when the main guys own a fog starts to lift, they start to show the reality of what was going on with these fuckboys, basically. And yeah, it's so different from mainstream Christianity.
I was as a lay LDS member, and most LDS members will tell you they are not, but it is absolutely a mind control cult. There is a bite model that we're going to get into, and it really breaks down from Steve Hassan, who really breaks down the pieces that go into mind control, and that's all Mormonism is.
It
They've
is.
got it on lock.
I'm so bothered in the way that women are treated as well. It is unacceptable. Unacceptable the way that women are treated. And I know, Lorene, I was actually thinking about this the other day, and I was watching, and I do want to get into like eventually one day do a whole breakdown on the Salt Lake City, the housewives, some of the people in that. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, what would I do? Like if I lived in Utah as someone who's never been a Mormon ever, let's say like I had to move to Utah with Todd's work or something, like say I got placed there and I had a kid and my kid wanted to go to like a youth thing at the Mormon church, what would I do? Now, even though I'm not a fan of many religions, I would let my kid go to like a mainstream Christian church because whatever. But if it was Mormonism at this point, what I know, I would not let my kid do that.
I wouldn't either. I let my daughter go to church for a couple years with my mom, and I have completely regretted that decision, and will make sure that my youngest daughter never goes, because especially with the kids, they get you when you're young and they sink their teeth in. I have a good friend whose son, they would always try to get him to come play basketball at the church with them. And because they were trying to get the kids baptized, that's where the money is all the kids.
I just can't. Like, I would. That would be tough if you were living in a place where there were so many. But I would not, as a parent, I would put my foot down. I'd be like, I can't let my kid, I can't let my daughter go into that and be told she is not worthy, and I can't let my son go into that and learn and believe that he somehow controls a woman. And it's different, like from the South here. Like I think about the way women, are treated in the South. Like when I was growing up, in school, if a female teacher walked into the room, the boys would have to stand up. That's a sign of respect. A boy opens the door for you. That's a sign of respect. I don't know how to change a tire or put oil in my car. I'm a girl. I don't do that. Todd does that. Like, like I don't open the, I don't carry heavy bags. I'm a girl. I don't do that. It's more of a superiority. Like, it's kind of reverse. It's like the women are put on a pedestal, and that's why they don't. It's different in Mormonism, where it's like the woman is literally, and it's very close to Islam in that way, where the woman is more of a breeding animal, and that's that. It's crazy.
They
Absolutely.
really push you down. And like you were saying with the 132, it's revelation. The section starts with revelation given to Joseph Smith the prophet at Nauvoo, recorded July 12th, 1843, relating to the new and everlasting covenant, including the eternity of marriage covenant. And Joseph Smith, an angel came to him and told him that Emma would get a sword drawn, or the sword was drawn on her if she did not comply with polygamy. Like it's
All
so gross.
I pulled up one thing, and that was a lot of the researchers because here's my thing with old Joe, fuckboy Joe. He was such a spoiled brat who created this totally delusional world where he was God, right? Or, God adjacent. And he started getting, he developed so many followers that he started getting anything he wanted. And what we see in a lot of cults actually is that vices that people might have that struggle with, for the cult leader, becomes like holy doctrine. We see that with Laura from the Cassiopean cult. We see that in Scientology. This is common practice for people who are malignant narcissists. It's all about me. So obviously, Joe was a bit of a philanderer. A lot of men are, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of just being human and being imperfect,
it's our fault. If the men stumble, it's the woman's fault. And the bishops will tell women that. I've heard so many stories on Mormon Stories podcast with John DeLynn, where women were told by their bishop, well, maybe he wouldn't have done that if you would have just been a little looser in the bed.
So I have a friend, I won't say her name, a girlfriend of mine who is a habitual cheater herself. And it's something she really, really struggles with. And she told me once, because I've been cheated on, and she was like, listen, it's never about you. She goes, as a habitual cheater, something's broken in me. So I want any woman hearing that's been told that it was your fault. It's not. It's not your fault. It's not. It's just not.
She obviously at least has some self-awareness that she can say that about themselves. The men in the church don't do any wrong. They have the priesthood. They have the discernment. They talk to God on your behalf. That's the other part of the temple where the man speaks to God and then you speak to the man.
Yeah. It's that's a good point too. I mean, billionaires are in weird religious cults. This is the more I study blood atonement with Mormonism, and guys, I literally I feel like I know Mormonism pretty well. Crusha probably as well, her, unfortunately, but I feel like, as somebody who's never been a Mormon, I'm so fascinated by how this religion works that I've studied it so much. And I'm telling you, going in deep into blood atonement and seeing how it ties directly with polygamy, that it was Joseph Smith being like, if you don't get in line, Emma, and you let me be the weirdo old man banging all these chicks, I'm going to blood atone you. And it's going to be holy because I'm Joseph Smith and I say so. So it's a sex cult and a death cult. That's what it is. And I don't want to offend any Mormon, but a lot of cults are sex and death. That's what it is. They're intricately tied within the Mormon faith. And with the Lafferty situation, that was part of it. The Lafferty brothers were experimenting with polygamy because they were going back to the roots and this is also where it gets into like the prepper world as well, which we're going through with Visions of Glory. That had a lot to do with Crusha's case with Lori Vallow. Now that happened with the Laffertys too. You look at the downward spiral is that they were, and I'm a constitutionalist myself. So I can see they did not believe that they should be paying, licensing fees and taxes to the federal government. That's how it started. And instead of being able to see the nuance in the situation, they used their religion as Mormons, and they got sicker and sicker and sicker and sicker in the head. And we see this with the prepper movement too. We see that with Chad and Lori.
Ruby Frankie and Jody Hildebrandt.
The fact that these people think that they have a right to take away someone's life and liberty, but yet you call yourself a patriotic American. What is the Declaration of Independence Day? That all men, all humans, are given certain inalienable rights by their creator, among them life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. It does not say anywhere that you have the right to take somebody else's life because of your religious beliefs.
But they have twisted that so much, and they have used religion here in America with the help of their current prophet. I would say that he is one of the biggest helpers in this in the past 50 years, because he became a Supreme Court judge very early in his career.
There's so many in our government.
It's freedom of religion. They should be able to blood atone if they want to, because it's freedom of religion. They will throw that in your face every time.
This is where, and I agree, Kresha, I've said this, that how they, with God, so people lose God when they lose. And then that's what, with old Joe, and I'm not a fan of the Bible, any version of the Bible, but the fact that old Joe, fuckboy Joe, changed from the New Testament to nullify, like, how manipulative is that? How manipulative is that? To be like,
when I left, I was like, no, I don't want anything to do with God, because he's a manipulative asshole in Mormonism.
Yeah.
That's it.
He's also in the Old Testament too. He's kind of an asshole in the Old Testament.
That's true.
Well. But and that's what Sandra Tanner was saying. She was saying that they get your mind so messed up with God that when you decide to leave, you think all the religions are following the same playbook, and they're not. Now, a little humor, as I've said, the church ladies are awfully scary, and the Protestant churches as well. They're their own little coven. If they pray for you in their prayer circles, you're going to get talked about. You're going to get gossiped about. But yeah, it's like doctrine. And this is why, and this is my problem with the extreme right, is that I believe the church and state should absolutely be separate. Look at what's happening in Iran right now. Like, we never want a theocracy. And I know Utah was really kind of supposed to be established as a theocracy. And they just decided that, oh, you know what? Shucks. God changed his mind about polygamy, because now we want the protection of the United States. So God's going to change his mind on polygamy. You can't do it anymore in public. You can have spiritual wives, though. So that we can become a part of the union and get the support of the United States. So Utah started as yep. I mean, he was such a fuckboy. He was and Big Daddy Brigham was just a psychopath, like, to the extreme.
It's blowing my mind too, because there are so many people right now trying to separate this polygamy thing from Joseph Smith and saying that Brigham Young was the first one who did it. But they were both evil.
No, they both were. They both were.
Like,
they were terrible. I mean, listen, Joe was a little bit better looking than Brigham, maybe. Well, let's break it down a little bit. Like, let's look at that time in history. And this is what's fascinating to me. This is why I love history. Because we can't like isolate it. We have to look at everything going on around the time that Mormonism was founded as a religion. We just won the American Revolution. We weren't supposed to. So now everybody's like, oh, fuck. In the colonies, like, what do we do now? Didn't think this way. The people of America, the colonists, had never lived in a world where they were free to find their religion. Most religions were designated by the state. Sorry if you guys hear Ravi barking, my dog. He's very offended if somebody walks past our place. It sucks when you live in a city. He just, how dare you walk past our house? But so we have this like weird energy in the colonies at this time. They're trying to figure out how to establish a country. We have this revival of Christianity because now people are free to experiment, right? And so we got Joseph, now part of the Book of Mormon, with the Native Americans being some of the 10 missing tribes of Israel. what I think people don't realize is that was a common thought back then. Like that was a theory that was floating around. So it was easy for people to accept that. And then we start to get weird with the religion. It gets even weirder. They were moving around. I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, Lorraine. I feel like the Mormons were told that they were just poor little helpless people being abused. But
Oh
I
yeah.
that Americans are pretty tolerant for the most part of like religion, like for the most part, because we do honor our Constitution. I think, Lorraine, that the towns they were in, Nauvoo, all these towns, were fed up with the polygamy, with the blood atonements, with the violence. What do you think?
Them trying to take the children.
Yep.
He was trying to marry kids. Like Joseph Smith was tarred and feathered, and we learned about that as kids. It kind of helps give you that persecution complex that you hold on to so tightly for most of your life. I mean, they are the most persecuted church, and you will hear all the members say that. Well, it's because of what they were doing in the beginning. They don't want to see that. Joseph Smith, they tarred and feathered him, and they were going to castrate him also. And the doctor couldn't do it because it was so gruesome. But it's because of what the shenanigans they were doing.
Yeah, it's and I want to also clear. I mean, it was more the men because at that point, even in America, women they're just following their husbands, right? They're just following they have no other choice but to follow their husband.
Especially back then. You can't have even your own bank account.
Exactly, exactly. And so it was these men getting out of control with polygamy. We see Emma majorly pushing back, which I think is very badass of her. That
Mhm.
she was like, I've played with your delusions this long, but we're not doing this. And the fact that he threatened her, and I think when he threatened her through God, used God as a way to threaten Emma, the fear that woman must have had because everyone around her believed her husband was a prophet. And I have a feeling that she started to kind of doubt a little bit about his holiness when that happened.
Yeah.
And
I wouldn't doubt it. She stayed with her son, and they did have a branch. Like they started the RLDS church
yes.
when they stayed back in Nauvoo. So she did have some of those beliefs, but I think that she was probably questioning a little bit more after that.
Yeah. Absolutely. I personally believe in this is my opinion. I don't know. I believe Big Daddy Brigham actually arranged for Joe to be unalived in blood atonement. And if you watch Under the Banner of Heaven, they show that scene, and the way they show him being unalive when he falls out the window is very much a blood atonement. I think Big Daddy Brigham was behind that. And
Well,
then
and there's a book I'm reading right now called Devil's Gate, and it's about the handcart mission, which they still perpetuate this today. Kids go out on trek where they go and they act like they're doing what they did back in the olden days when they were taking handcarts from Illinois and Missouri and driving them to Utah. Well, a lot of people died on that because they did not get enough food, they did not get enough drinks, and I would say that that might have something to do with it.
and
That
Salt
blood
Lake
atonement
is
belief.
it's a very inhospitable place to live anyway for for back then. But
And it's getting worse today. It's
how
a lot worse.
how much time do you have before you have to go back to work?
I can stay till about 1:30.
Okay, cool, awesome. Yes, because we haven't
Yeah,
even gotten to the Epstein
I know.
emails, y'all.
Yeah, we
We're
have to
kind of
touch that.
building up. We're kind of building up to the Epstein emails. But I wanted to set that Utah was literally set to be a theocracy, and that's my problem with the far right is this idea of theocracy. Fuck no, we don't want that. Are you kidding me? In what
It's more
world?
than just a theocracy, too, in Utah. They have the beehive mind,
Yes.
which dates back to very old Masonic and very old magical type teachings.
Now, this is my question for you, Lorraine, because this kind of gets into like the prepper movement, which we see another a vow, another voice of warning, visions of glory, this huge prepper movement, which you and I are building up to kind of talk about how the truther community is Mormonism, it's as Satanism. I This is what gets me. I understand why like Mormons and a lot of very religious people, fundamentalists, are Republicans, because Republicans do support freedom of religion. That's why they want that freedom of religion. However, what we see from old Joe, fuckboy Joe's teaching is communism within the doctrine of Mormonism, communal living, giving things to the church. We know that from what I've understand reading about the prepper movement, that when they believe Jesus comes back and it's the apocalypse or whatever, that the church is going to come collect all of their supplies that they've their cans of food and their ammunition, everything, and they're going to take it to like tent cities. This is communism. But yet we see, so it's like, it's interesting to me, because I'm like, but yet you guys are all huge like Republicans.
It's really, I mean, it's very, very interesting, because the Kingston clan, the FLDS, they truly believe that you give everything to the group, and then the group will give it to you as they see fit. Amanda Ray has talked about how they had donated a house like in their family line, but then people still had to pay rent to the church.
Yeah,
so
it's wild. Well, this is what the call out, thank you, Crusher. That's what I was, it's literally New World Order, it's communism, but yet all of these people, we know that they're big Trump. Like, I'm like, do you guys not see the fallacy? You're voting on a ticket for more like constitutional, which is more sovereignty, but yet you're acting in this New World Order communistic way. It's a pecking order, which we know from the Law of One. If you guys have never read the Law of One, I've talked about it a lot. I love the Law of One because it really puts spirituality in more of a template. It can be kind of inserted into a lot of spiritual beliefs, but literally it kind of gives you like the scientific perspective of like negative and positive polarity. Negative polarity, they have a pecking order. So anything with a pecking order is by nature negative, which is a lot of religions. It's monarchy. It's that some are more valuable than others. What's the quote from Animal Farm? Everyone's equal. Some are more equal than others. And that's Mormonism to a T, where you have prophets, and I mean, Lord have mercy. We're gonna crush it. We're definitely talking about the Epstein files. We
everything goes to Salt Lake. Everything.
Yeah.
And they're trying to bleed the beast also. So they also encourage their members to go to the government for food stamps first. Go get your money from them as much as you can before you come to us from help.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to give up their $300 billion that they have sitting in a slush fund.
That's what's crazy to me. Like, yeah, and I want to show that because I do believe they're trying to bring in the second coming. And if we go back to mainstream Christian doctrine, what does it say? That Jesus says no one knows the hour or the date. You don't know.
What if it's not? What if it's not some being coming down? What if it's us actually realizing what we're here to do, how to stop this, to listen to our intuitions and listen to our guts and listen to ourselves, not some man who tells you that they speak to God for you. That is not the way to go.
Thank you. That's my belief of what the second coming is. It's that we wake up and we're like, you know what? I'm good. I don't need you to tell me who God is. I have God here. Isn't that what Jesus said anyway? Behold, heaven or hell's inside of you.
They want people to think that somebody is coming to save them. They can keep their persecution complex up because they have the one true church. They're the saints. They're the ones being persecuted. But at the same time, they're waiting for somebody to come and save them.
Yeah, it's crazy. And that's another form of a negative polarity, to believe someone's going to come and save you.
The Olympics is a whole nother rabbit hole that we could go down, because they have a lot of the PDFs that traffic through there.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Exactly. Yeah. I'm on the same train as you, Kresha. Absolutely.
Me too.
I've done all of my deep dives into like the missing books of the Bible and all this stuff, breaking it down, my own experiences, studying different religions. It's not, I believe that, and Sergey Monas, you guys, if you're not on my Substack, and Kresha, I don't know if I've talked about Sergey, you might be interested in looking at some of Sergey Monas' documents. He was calling this shit out back in the 90s, and he talked a lot about Project Bluebeam, which basically is in a essay, I don't know if I can say that on YouTube, creating different, how do I describe this on YouTube?
Holograms in the sky and
holograms in the sky to make you think. So basically, the church is being used as a tool for the New World Order, and that they were gonna, if Jesus comes to a sky near you, take a second
I
thought.
was really thinking maybe that 3-eye atlas thing, but where did that news story go? All of a sudden, that comment's just gone.
I'll have to look because I think they're trying to do it, but I think more and more people are now aware. Well, Sergey, I'm going to ask you guys, if you go to my Substack, I can't put his documents up here on YouTube or my channel will get taken down. But it's on Substack. So if you go to my Substack, it's in the description box, or if it isn't, I'll put it in after we're done. I have a lot of I read through a lot of his documents. He was exposing this stuff back in the 90s, and he was unalived in like 1996 for all of this stuff. So I feel like if he were alive today, he'd be like, I fucking told you guys this was coming. I told you guys, like, tried to warn you that this was coming. And so what with Precious saying this here, yeah, what they're going to do, according to Sergey Manas's documents, is they're going to put like whatever your God is, if it's Jesus, if it's Krishna, whatever, they're going to make you see it. And then it's going to tell you things that's going to allow you to consent to the NWO, basically.
And I think that the chips and I think that the data centers that they're trying to push everywhere right now has a lot to do with that. Because how else are they going to get us to see it? If they put something in us directly, then we will.
Yeah.
They can control everything if they can control our minds. And that's the ultimate goal, is they want to control everybody's mind and tell everybody what to do and not have that free agency that God gave us.
And what I mean, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is a death cult, you guys, because it's the latter days. This is the whole show. That's what it's in the title, right? It's in the title. Like, they're waiting for the end of time. And as Kresh was saying, I think they are doing things to accelerate this, to bring about this dominance, because even Mitt Romney, like, he was a Republican, but yet these beliefs center around communistic, socialistic ideas, where you have the haves and the have-nots deciding who gets what in these tent cities. The blood atonement, what was so heartbreaking to me in a lot of studying deeply rooted Mormon families, of these people speaking about families that are in the mainstream LDS church, but their beliefs are a little bit more fundamentalist, that even if they were to walk away from the religion, excommunication would be the least of their worries. That they were scared they were going to be killed. Because what is it? If you walk away from the faith and they shed your blood, then your soul is saved. Is that correct? Am I saying that correct?
Yeah, it's better. There was one quote actually one time where they got up in conference and said that it's better for you to come home in a casket than to come home early from a mission. So make sure you get that 2 years of indoctrination for sure. Like, don't leave early, because it would be a shame to you to do that. It's on every single level of their beliefs. The blood atonement is everything.
It's everywhere.
And the members do it all the time, and they don't even realize it. They don't realize that that's what they're doing.
Yeah. It's let me share this. I found this. Let me go to the website here. I'm going to read it from, just so you guys see, Jebediah M. Grant. Now, who is Jebediah M. Grant, Lorene? Was he anybody big in the church?
The name Grant sounds familiar, but I think one of the prophets may have had the last name Grant. It's been a while since I've looked at the prophets' names, but I know that last name is a big Mormonism name.
Well, he was important enough for them to write this down. So September 21st of 1856. I say there are men and women that I would advise to go to the president immediately and ask him to appoint a committee to attend their case, and let a place be selected, and let the committee shed their blood. We have those amongst us that are full of all manners of abominations, those who need to have their blood shed, for water will not do. Their sins are of too deep a dye. I would ask how many covenant breakers there are in this city and in this kingdom. I believe that there are a great many, and if they are covenant breakers, we need a place designated where we can shed their blood. This is the damn Handmaid's Tale, guys. And of course, it goes through all the quotes. So this is for the Mormons who don't believe that blood atonement is a part of the faith. It's very much so a part of the faith. It's very much so.
It's in its roots.
Yes.
Very much so.
And for the Mormons who, you know, again, I'm not a fan of mainstream Christianity, but it's a whole lot better than this, because in a mainstream Christian church, they're going to tell you, you don't need to do all that. Jesus took care of it for you.
Well, and to go back to the Masonic, the book that I was reading earlier, the penalty for the second is to have the left breast torn open, the heart plucked out, and given to the wild beasts of the field and the fowls of the air. The sign is to have the upper hand cupped over the left breast, drawing it quickly across the body, then dropping the hand to the side. So they also call this the second token of the Mormon Aaronic priesthood. And then the third is to have the whole body cut in two, his bowels removed and burned to ashes, which are then scattered to the fourth winds of heaven. The sign is to draw the thumb quickly across the waist to the right hip and drop the hand to the side. This action shows the stomach being ripped open, and this is the first token of the Mormon Melchizedek priesthood. It is absolutely in depth in the very, very heart. Like, that is the master ceremony that you do when you go through the temple. When you get married, this is what you were doing up until the 1990s. I think that is kind of how some of this stuff is getting out more, because people are finally not as afraid as they once were, because you're not promising to cut open your throat and your bowels in order to be able to be a part of their death cult.
You know, as you're reading that, do you know what? We talk about the elite families. I know that Kresha had put that in here. As you were saying that, I mean, this is what monarchy did to people who spoke against them. Hung, drawn, and quartered. That's what that is. Chopping the head off. Like, what is that? It's
sacrifice to Moloch.
Excuse me. Not today, Satan. Blood atonement was good. It wasn't just a Brigham Young thing. It started with Joseph Smith.
There's quotes of him, like with animals, he had to go dress up in all black and go find a black dog or cat for specific rituals that he was doing.
Yeah, it's deep. I mean, like, this is just our first episode. I'm going to text Crush when we're done. I know we want to talk to Heidi as well, because this is important. You might think that this is just some little religion that's doing it. It's not the business of those of us who aren't involved. It absolutely is the business of us. And especially if you consider yourself to be awake or to be a truther or a disclosure, this is what's behind that movement too.
This is about humanity, making sure that they are stopped, because everybody believes that the Mormons are the nicest people, which is why I'm kind of glad that they have been dropped in this files, and makes, like, I'm really trying to not look at them very much. But when this popped up, I had to watch.
Yeah.
Because
I'm glad you did, because I'm going to tell you, girl, I shared a comment this morning where someone was like, wow, it's starting to show that a lot of you guys did not read WikiLeaks back in 2016. I did read WikiLeaks. So I have kind of been trying to not, because I know it's in the file. Like, we all know it's in the file. So let me bring this to the stage. So I'm going to let you take it away, Lorraine, with the Epstein files. What's been dropped?
Oh, well, that first email right there says it's from him to an Al Seckel, and of course it blacks out the email address, but ALSECKEL. And I'm going to do some more research, because Ezekiel is kind of what that sounds like, and that's kind of a biblical name. So there's something about a lot of videos. There were some excellent talks by the usual gang and some new suspects and scoundrels. My truck made it find. I premiered my out-of-body experience, which is a very robust effect. Basically, you get completely dark adapt, and then you look at your body, and I paint the image very vividly on your retina, and then you look up at the ceiling. I got Saul Werman and many others to see their bodies floating on the ceiling, and other interesting perceptual effects. A big hit along with levitating water device. And then it says a few hours later, don't leave me hanging, Jeff. I want to know your relationship to Pons and cold fusion, which must have been what he was talking about there. We don't obviously have a lot of basis to what this email is about, but Jeffrey replied, the original Senate funding came out of Congress and Wayne Owens, senator from Utah. I was there and argued against it. Had OT meet with the head of the Mormon church. Of course, we don't know who OT is, but why are they meeting with the head of the church? This was dated back in 2009. So the president of the church at that time would have been Thomas S. Monson. He was sustained in April of 2009. So this is not far after he was sustained. His first counselor was Henry B. Eyring, who is still one of the counselors in the Mormon church today. And the second counselor was Utdorf, who is also in the Quorum of the 12. So he's pretty still high up there also.
So they're in it.
Oh, yeah.
They're deep in it with Epstein.
I'm pretty sure they're part of the heart of it because they believe so strongly in Israel. Israel is the mainland. It's the main country. And they feel like they are descendants of that also, of that main line.
Of Judaism, of Mormonism, that I don't know if a lot of mainstream Christians know. That's why you guys call us outside of Mormonism Gentiles. You believe that Mormons believe they're part of the 10 missing tribes of Israel, so they're also Jewish.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so Kresha says, no, who else is an Owens and a senator in Utah? Burgess Owens plus Mike Lee and John. Yep.
Yeah, Mike Lee is a whole nother name that we could go about. But all of their laws, like they just had recently, one of the senators push for lower penalties against PDFs because his grandson was convicted of being one. And so they want to lower the age. Jeez. It's disgusting. Yeah, and they get away with it because they own the state.
They own it.
They can do whatever they want.
So this is an interesting read Amy just brought up. The handshakes I was watching are the same handshakes they learn in Freemasonry that they do in the temple. Yes. It's the exact same.
Yep. Exact same. Yep.
I was watching a thing on it and they're like, they do these handshakes. I'm like, I've seen those handshakes in my research. Y'all aren't the only ones who do those handshakes. Come on.
Well, we could do a whole episode on that too, but that is the other part that they got from Freemasonry that they do at the very highest level.
Yeah. It's I was like, come on now, y'all aren't the only ones. So I know you're your lunch break, Lorraine, so I want you to be able to go and get some food in your system before you go back to your day job.
Oh, that's okay.
You're a Satanist hunter in disguise. You're like Clark Kent.
That's right.
So, and I know I'm going to text you, Kresha. Once we get off, I'll shoot you a text with Lorraine and because I definitely want to continue doing, because I think blood atonement really is kind of the glue that kind of, oh, absolutely. 100%.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
You know, Pam Bondi is, right?
No.
From that one? Mm-hmm.
She's Scientologist?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's girl,
or was who, allegedly.
My late friend Doug Scott Kramer, who was an ex-Scientologist, I always shout him out. He's the reason why I got so deep into the Son of Sam work. It's the same group. The Son of Sam group, Process Church, Utah, my best friend's Animal Sanctuary, that's in Utah, that's the Process Church. It's all the same group. And this is what I respected so much about Doug, was after he came out of Scientology, he healed himself. He started to go, well, how did something like L. Ron Hubbard even happen? So then he started that journey, which connected to the three-letter agency, which connected to Charles Manson, which connected to Son of Sam, which connects to the Mormon Church, which connects to, even Gypsy Rose Blanchard, you guys, like all of her friends, including herself, they're all shaving their heads now, just like Manson's people did. It's crazy. It's in a lot of these churches will support each other because of freedom of religion. And it's like bullshit.
Well, on the pillars, there's 5 main pillars in getting this NWO in place. And they're one of the major ones, especially with all the money they have. I think they've moved up a couple levels because they recently bought Westminster Abbey and they built a temple down the street from the Vatican. So I think they've actually leveled up with how much they own and what all of their shenanigans.
So they're telling the people that the Catholics are an abomination, but yet they're in bed with, they're doing it in front of your face. This is the definition of cognitive dissonance. You're believing the lie while seeing the truth, you know, and it's so sad. Yep. Oh,
Yeah.
the e-meter.
Yeah, the M. Russell Ballard. Yes. I'm so glad you brought that up, Kresha, because yeah, he was one of the main ones to develop and sell the e-meter for
You know,
Scientology. Pretty sure that L. Ron Hubbard learned a couple things from the Mormons.
I think Ballard was also heavily involved in trying to cover up the Lafferty situation as well. I still want to do a show with you and Kresha over the whole Ballards, the Russell and the Tim, who they say are
Who
not
aren't
related.
related. Come on, they're all related. Just like Joseph Smith is related to Bill Gates, which Heidi has recently talked about. Joseph's mom's mom, I believe. You'll have to go to her channel, The Unfiltered Rise, to find out for sure and make sure I'm telling you the truth on this. But grandma is related to the Gates line.
They're all related. Every last one of them are related. And I just when that with Scientology and Mormonism too, they do kind of the same thing with kids. Like so inappropriate. Like what?
Yep.
You're gonna put a little girl in a room with a 50-year-old man and talk about inappropriate things either on the e-meter or in the name of God. And I just absolutely not. Absolutely. And I don't know how, like, is that like, because I know Mormon parents love their children so much. Do Mormon moms struggle with that, Lorraine, to have their daughters and sons go and sit in a room with an old man?
I know that they've recently changed it where they are allowing the parents to go in with the child to sit through the worthiness interviews. That's what they call it. And while, okay, great. How do you know that, first of all, the parent isn't involved because of MK? We all know about the ultra shenanigans that the CIA loves so much.
Yeah.
But they are now allowed to sit. But, you know, it kind of takes away also from the whole meaning of repenting, because you're supposed to repent to the bishop. So how are you going to repent with your parent there also? Like it's very backwards.
And that's very a la Catholicism too, with confessionals, which we don't have in the Protestant church because we don't believe that we just believe you repent to or I don't, but grew up that you just repent to Jesus. Although I will say, because my brother-in-law's, he's Italian Catholic, and so my sister decided that she was going to, you know, raise their kids culturally, and I was going to go and be my nephew's godmother. He's got a wild godmother, like all his friends. I'm the one that's in India, like he's like probably so embarrassed. But when I was having to take the Catholic classes to be his godmother in the Catholic Church, I was like, actually, confessionals sound kind of nice. Like, can I just go sit there and unload onto a total stranger? And then I did this, and then I said that, and then I just go on. Do I have to be Catholic? Can I just go unload? Yeah, it's y'all, it goes deep. It goes deep. Kresha, I don't know if you're familiar with Doug Scott Kramer's. I mean, he passed away. I think they blood atoned him. That's my opinion. I know people do think I'm crazy for saying that because of the official cause, but I think he said too much. He said too much, and he was a Hollywood actor. He had gathered some fame before he kind of walked away from everything when he figured everything out. Like why? Oh yeah, he's amazing. So his series, Growing Up in a Secret Society, unbelievable. And I actually still get emotional when I think about him not being here anymore. And I know he would have loved to have been involved in these conversations. And I think he was taken out because of who he knew in Hollywood. And he definitely was aware when he started to wake up of what was going on with children. As I keep saying, and as the Epstein files are showing, this is Satanism. Full stop.
And it runs the world now. It runs everything.
And people are saying, like, what are they going to do? Arrest themselves? Like, how is this going to end? How is this going to end? Are they going to arrest themselves? Like, it's all of them. Even Princess Diana, guys, she's in the emails. How are the truthers going to handle that reality? She's there. It's all of them.
I mean, some people still think Mother Teresa was a good woman. So if you don't know about that, you should go look into that. It really is all of them.
It's all of them. And so how do we stop this? Stop going to these churches. Stop giving your money to these organizations. Research. All religion is God's opinion on man, or man's opinion on God. Reverse what I just said. Man's opinion of God. And their God is not our God. Their God is not our God.
Well, and in those emails, like, we didn't get through all of them, but the one line that really got me was, all she has to do is send him a pint of Mormon blood every week. What? Why? What are you talking about?
I only got the first of your oh no, sorry.
Oh, the first page.
I missed it. No, I thought it was just, oh my God, girl. Well, I think next, I want to give you time to get some lunch, girl. I think next we should start with this on the next episode too, going back through the email. I think it's really important. And I'm going to say, Kresha, you're coming on next time too. So
you are always welcome with us. I love you so much, Kresha. I cannot thank you enough for some of the things that you are doing to bring some of this to light, because as an outside person who hasn't even involved in the church, just because you were like thrown this in your face, unfortunately, like, your voice is so important, and I cannot thank you enough for all the hard work you're doing. I know it's hard. It's not easy. I usually have to take a few days after these videos to like decompress and really think about it all, because it's heavy. It's not easy, and you are so appreciated.
Absolutely. And my heart goes out to you, Cressa. Like, I can't imagine, as an aunt myself. I just can't imagine. Like, when I first found out about the pizza, we'll say, the gate, I had a really hard time seeing my nephews and nieces, because I couldn't look at them and be like, oh my God, like, this is happening to kids just like them. Absolutely, girl. You are doing your family such justice, because I don't think justice was fully served. I think, where are the Melanies? Zulema.
How are they still walking free? That is not okay.
How are you doing this? You fucking knew.
They're protected. They're insulated in this cult.
Yes. You should not be free. You should be. And listen, I'm very weird about the ultimate penalty. I'm weird about that. I have weird feelings. But with Chad, firing squad right now. You don't.
Anyone who hurts kids, like, I don't understand how those are some of the least harshest penalties to people in this country. Like, it blows my mind. You can hurt a child and be out in less than a month. It doesn't make any sense. Right now, I'm following a case here locally where there was a mom, a dad, and a son who have recently been charged for things that happened in 21. I just went to the pretrial conference, and he's allowed to work at an archery center where there are kids, as long as he's not working when the kids are there. Like, I'm pissed. I am blowing this archery center up as much as possible. These people need to be held accountable, and anyone who stands with them need to also be held accountable.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It makes me so mad.
It makes me horribly mad too. I have got questions about I've got questions about when the trial was going on, I kind of liked the judge, but now I've got kind of questions about the judge in your trial, and the Daybell Vallow. I kind of have some questions about him now. How can you have a fair trial when religion is at the center of their beliefs, and the judge allegedly is part of that religion?
We're having problems. Yeah, near us in St. Louis, there's a mom whose kids are with the abuser and the parents because they're saying she's the crazy one. This is how they do it. It's that Darvo. They're blaming her for what they're doing. And I'm hoping that I've got the right person. Like, I know a lawyer who I'm hoping she is able to help and get some contacts over there, because the one here locally for me, Kresha, you were asking if it was about a death, but it was it was actually SA for their foster kids. So it's pretty horrific. But they are still alive. The kids are still alive, thankfully.
I just finished reading Lori Hillis's book, Children of Darkness and Light. Sorry, I read it in the bathtub, so my attire where I read is in the bathtub, so that's why it looks funky. And she kept calling it neo-fundamental. She did a great job, but she kept calling it neo-fundamentalism. Like, no, girl, like this is actually the Mormon belief. Like, this is not. This is yeah,
And it goes way back before Mormonism. This isn't just Mormonism. This is decades or like centuries old, disgusting shit.
Yeah, I think that this is a conflict of interest.
Mm-hmm.
I think
just like the case that we're about to see with CK. We are not going to get justice in that case. It is not going to happen as long as that case stays in Utah and they get to pick the defense. Come on, give me a break.
Listen, we could do a whole show on Erica Kirk and the shit show that's unfolding with that. And yes, everything but yeah, no, I think that if the Vallow trial showed us anything, we need to revise that if there is a murder that's coming from a religious belief system, the judge should not be a part of that religion. Period. End of story. I think that's a conflict of interest.
Or any branches of it. Yes. Everything that happens in Utah needs to go to another state where people are more like here in reality and know what's really going on so that they can be tried correctly.
Georgia. Send them down to Georgia. Let's let Bubba in a small town in Georgia sit on that at that jury. And we've got we have a lot of content, I guess, to go through, don't we, with this stuff, because I have nothing to lose. I don't have kids. I will keep going. I'm stubborn and I'm petty. And this pisses me off so much because you don't fuck with life.
And the mama bear in me became awoke a few years ago, and I am not going to shut up. I have been blasting all of this stuff, and it's scary to get on your face, like, and really put yourself out there. But I feel like we have to talk about it, or it's going to be that much worse for my children, and I don't want that for them.
Yeah, no, I don't want that for your children or anybody's children. This is not what I believe that most people on this planet, us peasants, I think most of us are relatively good. We have a moral compass. We fuck up from time to time, but we're good. We wouldn't do the dastardly things that Chad Daybell and these people, these blood atonements, the Lafferty brothers. And I think that we have to. Exactly. Bubba will take care of it for sure. Listen, Chad is a coward. Like, he's a fucking piece of shit. Let's send old Chad Daybell down to Georgia, and we'll see what happens to old Chatty boy with his little fine hands, and that we heard so much about during the trial. So anyway, girl, I know you got to go back to work, and I want you to get some. I want you absolutely go check out Under the Banner of Heaven to get a better idea of this. It's gruesome. Viewer discretion is advised. It's about blood atonement. So I'm gonna go ahead and sign out for the
Yes.
Squeal like a pig, boys. Squeal like a pig. So I definitely will be texting you, Crush, once I get off, and we'll do a group text. We'll figure something out, because I definitely, this is just the beginning. We're not going away. I love the Mormon Church does not think women are worthy, but
that's how I feel about that.
And we're cuter than those old men anyway. So anyway,
that's right.
All right, you guys. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end the live. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Definitely check out Crush's channel. Lorene, when are you opening up your channel, girl? You got to let me know, because we got to advertise your channel, because you're going to be going hardcore on your channel about this stuff.
I'm working on it. I've got it built, and I just need to finish my first video and put it up. So I'm getting there.
We'll get you out there, girl, because this is important. So anyway, thanks for joining us over on Shadowband Lane, where I live. Thanks for coming over here. And we're shadow banned for a reason, but we're just going to keep going. And I don't know, before we sign off, guys, with my memberships, we are going to be going through, speaking of blood, we're going to be going through Bloodline of the Gods for the memberships, which is a great book that goes in the RH negative bloodline. And I'm going to be doing extra research to talk about all the things that he speaks about. So thank you, guys. Yeah, we are neighbors, aren't we, on Shadowband Lane? We're far away from Main Street. We're on Shadowband Lane. So
much better over here.
Yeah. So it's more fun over here. Actually, we tell the truth, and we're sassy doing it. So, fuck boy Joe Smith and Big Daddy Brigham. I hope you're rotting in hell where you deserve to be rotting. And for all the Mormon prophets doing this bullshit, you'll be there soon as well. So, anyway, guys, thank you so much, and yeah, we'll talk to you guys very soon. Bye, everybody.